All right, guys, so today we have a special guest from WSBT. She's a producer. She's a Penn High School graduate from the class of 2013, so even though she wasn't in PNN, she was once sitting where you guys are sitting. She's cross-country track, so join me in welcoming her. She's going to talk to you guys about
All right, hi guys. My name's Allie, as you know. Before I start talking about kind of my job, I want to give you my background so you understand where I came from. I went to Penn, obviously. Mr. Starkweather and I graduated the same year. So I never took PNN, believe it or not, now that I'm a journalist, but I was here at one point in my life. I ran cross country and track all 4 years, and I was also a total band geek. I played clarinet for like 8 years. Believe it or not, yeah, so I did all that. And between band and cross country sports, I didn't have time to do anything else. So my freshman year of high school, I took a journalism class here, hated it. I thought it was very hard and it annoyed me. It was my elective my freshman year and I don't know why I took it. But then lo and behold, 4 years later, I ended up being a journalism major in college. Funny how things work out. But yeah, so I've been here in your guys' shoes. I go off to college. I go to Franklin, and who said their brother is going there? Is he going to be?
Yeah, my twin, he's going there.
Next year?
Yeah.
Wow, that's awesome. Well, I went to Franklin. I graduated in 3 years, so that's why you're probably like, well, you graduated in 13 and you already have a job. Well, I graduated last May. I went there. I started out not really knowing what I wanted to do. I really liked writing. That's all I really knew. I liked writing and I hate math. I never thought I was good at math. I hated science, anything like that, so I wanted to be English or writing. Well, I didn't really want to be an English major. Everyone told me don't be a creative writing major, so I was like, I'll be a journalism major. It makes the most practical sense. And you guys, does anybody want to be a journalism major? Yeah, maybe. Well, when I was in your guys' shoes, I was like, no, I am not being a journalism major. That sounds awful. Watch, funny how things change. But so I go to school, and I go in as a journalism broadcast major. I ended up my second year adding on a public relations major. I was a double major in college. Ended up loving it. Now, I work at WSBT. I got the job about a month after I graduated, and I got hired on there as a digital content producer. And how many of you guys like social media? I'm sure you do, because you're all telling me how to get past the blockers.
We all know the filter.
Well, yeah, so when I got hired on, my job was to post to social media. So I sat at a desk 8 hours a day and posted to Facebook and watched Twitter and posted to Twitter and Instagram and YouTube. How fun does that sound? No?
It sounds like a lot of platforms.
A lot of platforms, yeah, but I got to just be like on social media and stuff that you guys do every day. Well, that's what I got hired on as. Didn't really know what I was doing. I learned eventually. And then one day my boss comes up to me and he's like, Allie, I really think that you have just a really good news judgment and I want to change your job. I want you to become this producer. At the time, I did not know what producing was. I'm sure you guys know more about producing than I did last July. Do you guys know what producing is? You do some of it, right? Yeah. You write stories, you put it so it goes on air, it goes out to everyone. Yeah, I took 2 weeks of a class in that in college and that's all I really knew. So I'm like, okay, sounds good, because when your boss comes up to you, and I'd only been working at WSBT for like 2 months, when he comes up to you and says, oh, this is your job now, it's not really like I could be like, okay, yeah, bye. I'm not gonna do that. No, I had to do it. So I started doing it, had no idea what I was getting myself into. And then they're like, oh yeah, and by the way, you're gonna work an overnight once a week. And I'm like, an overnight? I don't even think I've stayed up like all night since I was, I don't know, high schooler, and that was for me trying to be fun and cool with staying up all night. No, I have to work an overnight. So I'm like, here I am. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know my job. And now I have to work an overnight. I've been doing this now for, oh gosh, like 8 months. And I want to just kind of tell you guys a little bit about my job. I started out not confident at all. I had no idea what I was doing, kind of like how you guys probably feel right now. You probably don't know what you're doing. You probably don't even know why you're sitting here. You're probably like, I don't even want to listen to you talk because it's not something I'm interested in. But trust me, as you get older, you're going to start loving things you never thought you would love. And for me, that was journalism. So I want to give you guys kind of a look at what, we are not restarting the computer. What my job looks like. Because believe it or not, I'm sure you guys think journalism, who thinks journalism is interesting and fun? Yeah? 1, 2, maybe 3. Okay, a few. Who thinks journalism's boring? Now be honest. Who does not like writing? Okay, 1, 2, 3. All right, there you go. Well, I'm going to tell you, journalism can be boring if you think of it in that aspect, but if you think about all the cool stuff we get to do and all the perks and benefits I get, it's actually really neat. So I sit at a desk. I have like a normal desk job, you could say, but it's really not normal. I sit there. I get to have Facebook up all the time, Twitter up all the time, which is why I thought it was so weird you couldn't get on Facebook or Twitter here, because that's like my job, you know. I have to always have that up. I have to always be connected. I have to listen to police scanners all the time. So you're sitting at your desk, you have all your social media up, and I actually have 2 computer screens. So my desk, 2 computer screens. So, you know, double action of stuff on your screen. But I have to listen to police scanners. My desk, if you ever, do any of you guys watch WSBT News? Well, if you ever see the live shot desk or the live desk, where they go on a reporter, she's standing at the desk and there's like 2 people working in the background, well, that's my desk. So you can watch today if you want, or I probably won't be there today, but you can watch sometime next week and you'll probably see my head right there typing away at my desk. So my desk where I sit and work, I also am on TV half the time because they take the live shots. But then when I'm not at my desk working, I'm in the producer booth, which is similar to your guys' booth here, but a lot more complex. So let me see if I can find these. So I went over this a little bit yesterday, and I'll go a little bit quicker with you guys. But this is just one view. This is how, if I'm sitting at my desk, and this is where I go to booth a show, so this is where I am to like when we go on air, basically. This is what I see, and this is only a little bit of it. So this is my computer. That's my rundown. Do you guys know what a rundown is?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's my rundown. I did the noon and the 6 Tuesday. Today's Thursday. Yes, Tuesday. So this is the 6 o'clock show. You can see, you probably can't see from there, but it's like VO, SOT. I'm sure you guys know like what a VO is, right? What's a VO? No? Like a video or like a voiceover? A SOT, like a sound bite. So the video, the VO means you're on video and the anchor is talking over it. The SOT means you have somebody who you interview, one of your reporters interviewed, and they're talking. So it's just like, that's like my coding. All this mumbo jumbo right here turns out to what you see on the TV screen. Over here, I have all these, there's another monitor right there, and those are all different places I watch while we're on the TV. Because as the producer, you kind of think like you're in charge. You're not really in charge, like pay-wise, you're not getting much more than everyone else, but you're in charge of everybody. You're in charge of where the anchors go, what they say, what the reporters do, and what they say. You're in charge of your director, your audio. You tell everyone how it is, and they listen to you. Does that make sense? So it's kind of cool. You get a lot of responsibility, but it's also kind of scary at the same time, right? So here I am. There's actually a glass wall right here, and over there is where my director sits. So you guys know kind of like a director's role, right? Yeah, so the director mainly just rolls the videos. So they push the buttons to make certain videos go. So whatever I tell the director to do, they actually do the action. Does that make sense? Okay, so there's all these different TV screens, are all the different camera shots, all the different angles you can take. Here you have like the Doppler radar, or what we call max. Over here, I can watch, right here is what we call our backpack. It's our live shots. So when reporters actually go like out in the field, they dial in, and we have 3 of them, 1, 2, and 3. And that's where I can see them there. Right there, you can see Abby Wepler. She's one of the meteorologists. She's at camera 5, which is our weather desk usually. And then like down here, I can watch WNDU to make sure that they're not getting any news that we aren't. So there's that. And then down here is how I choose what cameras I want to see. So this doesn't affect the cameras viewers at home see, but it's more what I want to see. So you can see there's like a lot of little buttons and stuff. Yeah, so right here you can see I can just change them. And those screens I showed you earlier, that's where those camera shots go. And I also can do some stuff with like the prompters. And you guys know prompters because you have some in here. Let's see if it just lets me. Right here is how I talk to all my people. So I have a mic on right now. If you're in WSBT studios, I'd have a mic, and I also have what we call an IFB. It's like a little earpiece you put in your ear, but you really can't see it on air. But it's how I talk to my anchors, and how they talk to me. So like here we have different, these are like the mic numbers. So I'm on mic 3 right now, so I would be STV3. And live 3 under it is just for the live shots, same concept. So I can flip it up to hear them, flip down to talk to them, and I also can talk to all my production staff. So my director, my TD, my audio, all that stuff's here. And we also have over here, it says CBS. So WSBT is a CBS affiliate. We're also now a Fox affiliate, but that's really confusing, so I won't talk about it. But I get to hear national news from CBS if there's a big announcement like Trump, I don't know, nukes somebody. Something crazy, you know, something big where we need to know and this needs to be breaking news. They come in over my headset because I have a headset on and they tell me. Does that make sense? So it's also kind of cool. So we always have that one on just in case something happens. This is just another view from where I'm sitting. So right here is that rundown and here's the rest of my screens. You can just see I have prompter, there's NDU, there's us on air on Fox and WSBT. And then over here I have this computer which we call the Middo. And on that computer, I can put anything on it that I want to see from online. Like say there's a funny video on Facebook or YouTube, and I want to show it to you guys on like TV. I use this little black box, and I can get that image, and we can project it on our TV, as long as we have, you know, the rights to use it. So that's pretty cool. And then over here is where we watch our video play out, which if you guys aren't really interested in producing or like production side of a newscast, you would never do anything with it, but it basically makes sure that the videos are in the right place so we don't air the wrong video. So that is very important. That's just a little picture of a prompter. There's also jobs as prompter operators. And this is a picture of the actual director side, so I am behind them. There's a glass wall that separates us, and that's all their stuff. I honestly don't know what half of these buttons do. Like, I don't do any of that. It looks really confusing to me, and I'm sure you guys were looking at my stuff like, oh my gosh, how do you handle all that? It came naturally. I had no idea when I started, and I got the hang of it. But now I look at this, and I'm like, I don't know what they're doing. But two people sit here, your director sits here, your TD sits there, and they're in charge of all the stuff that I don't do. So there's that. All right. Oops, I just exited out of your email. That's okay, though. So, how do I get my news? So what do you guys, I didn't hear, what do you guys do in this class mainly?
Production, right?
So what do you write? Like, how do you determine what you write?
So, announcements, things that go around Penn, or we use some things that are outside of the school.
Mm-hmm.
Like we will use our magazine or our news booklet.
Yeah.
And then we mainly show every other day.
Okay.
Every other team.
What were you gonna say?
Usually we write it based on how current it is and like how big of like a story it could be.
Good. So news judgment. It's a big thing, right? So the way I pick my stories, and like you were kind of saying, current announcements. Well, here, I go over here real quick. Current announcements are a big thing in news because news is not news. You have NEW, right? It has to be new. So that's not what I want. So I brought down a press release for you guys, if I can find it, but I'm not going to worry about finding it. Too many papers. Well, we get press releases, okay? So a press release is kind of like your announcement. We're not in a school and, you know, people send us announcements, but people email us. I get 500 emails a day of people emailing me stuff they want us to put on air, right? So that's one way we get our news is a press release, which you know what they look like. It's just boring and you have to pick out one or two things you really like, make it into a 20-second reader or something, right? Well, another way to get news is we're an affiliate of CBS and we're also an affiliate of CNN. So we have these big websites where all the CBS stations in the nation, all the CNN affiliate stations in the nation, they all upload their interesting stories and videos and announcements and stuff to a website. So I'm going to show you guys CBS News Path. This is where the CBS affiliates upload their videos, and this is how we kind of get story ideas. So a way a rundown works, when you're looking at a newscast, I don't know, do you guys like choose where you want stuff in your newscast? Yeah. So that's what the main part of my job is. It's like a puzzle is how I like to think of it. I have this blank 30 minutes or hour, or I do the Saturday morning show at WSBT, so it's 2.5 hours. And I have to fill that time block with stories. But how do you do it, you know? That's my job. How do you do it? So the way a newscast works, it's kind of like your A block and your E block, or your half hours. So your A block is like 7 a.m. Your E block starts at 7:30 a.m. That's where your hard-hitting news is. So if someone got shot, someone got murdered, if like yesterday that landfill blew up and was on fire, that's where you'd put that stuff. But the rest of the blocks, you can put really whatever you want in it. That's the cool thing about a producer. I can be creative. And that's what I think I really like about my job is I've always liked creative writing. I always have liked poetry and stuff, or just being creative. I really like music. And that gives me the chance to put my creative touch in the show. Does that make sense? So I really like funny, cute things like baby animals. Or yesterday we showed them a video of astronauts like making a peanut butter jelly sandwich in space. Like if you like that story, you can write it up and put it in the news because somebody else is going to like it too. It's just picking where you want to put it. So do you know what a kicker is? A kicker story? Where do you put a kicker? At the end, right? It's something nice, lighthearted, because you don't want to end your newscast on 30 people died today in a mass bombing or something, right? You don't want to do that. So we're going to go look here. I just click on CBS. If I clicked on WSBT, you can see actual just WSBT footage. So this is stuff my station shot and uploaded. But we don't ever do that because we already have that in our studios. So I click on CBS. And you see all of these stories, all the stuff I can pick from, and it goes everywhere. And I was telling you, we want to look at for a kicker. So let's see. UK Vo baby penguins make debut at London. Cute, right? So the Vo means, what does Vo mean? Because I told you guys earlier, video, right? So this means there's no sound on this tape. There's no sound. You would just have your anchor talking over it. So what I would do, I'd go in, I'd watch this video. And it's 41 seconds long. Does that mean I air this for 41 seconds? I probably would air this for like 15 or 20 seconds. And I'm like, oh, that's cute. And then I tell my editor, I'm like, okay, I want from 18 to 25. That's where I want my Vo. This little number up here, these letters and numbers, it says Thursday 01111. That is what I would copy and paste into my rundown. And I would tell the editor, this is the video. That's what it tells the editor. This is the video. This is what I go look for when I go to edit it. For me, you guys probably edit your own video. I'm not for sure yet. I know you will eventually because I talked to the other class yesterday. You edit your own video. You man your cameras. You do audio. I don't do any of that. My job is just producing the show, picking out the stories and writing them, and picking out what cameras I want to use and what sound I want to use and all that stuff, you know, camera shots. So I don't have to worry about any of that. I just tell people what to do and they do it, hopefully. And then down here, you can see it gives you some information. So I can take this information and I can use it. But maybe you don't like baby penguins, okay? So we go back. And then maybe you're looking for a more hard-hitting news. Well, here you go, Trump tax plan, a package. So this package on the Trump tax plan, I'd probably put in my A or my E block, and I can just go down. I see all what they have to offer. I can either run it as a package, and do you guys know what a package is, right? Yeah, so I can either run it as a package, I can run it as a Vo, so just a voiceover, or I could even run it as a VoSot. You know, I can really pick and choose what video, what sound I want, or I can just take the easy way and just run the whole package, you know, and have 2 minutes of my show already planned out. Another thing I want to show you with NewsPath is really important to us. So a really important thing about being a producer or just journalism in general is planning. You always have to have a plan, and sometimes you have to think on your feet because breaking news can be really fun and exhilarating and have the adrenaline pumping, but it also can be very stressful if you don't know what you're doing. So a thing that we have here every day, if I go to NewsPath Planner, it tells me the stories they have lined up for the day, and these are coming from our national correspondents. So you can think of them as like the best reporters CBS has in the country. So we have Trump latest 100 days, Craig Boswell. Craig Boswell is like our political reporter, you could say, for the nation, for CBS. So I know I'll have a package on Trump, and it tells me there's one coming down at 11:30 a.m. and one coming down at 3:30 p.m. What they do at those times, we have a noon show and a 4 show. So and make sure you have that fresh new information, and it's kind of like you have a reporter who's working for you, but they're not in the building. Does it make sense? So you can see all the different things. They have the NFL draft experience. They're going to have a package on that. A look live, so you can take it where it looks like that reporter's live when they're really not. That's how we trick people, making them look like they're live. But that type of stuff is really important. And if you want to pull up TweetDeck now, be good. So do you guys have any questions so far while we're getting TweetDeck ready? No? Because if not, I'm going to show you some more stuff. Oh, yeah, I didn't really talk about that. So,
what was your, did you check news sites and just posted all this on Facebook?
So my job, I was a digital content producer. So I had to produce news on a digital platform, which means I had to post to social media. Now, I didn't really do the writing necessarily. So like those stories you saw, we also are an affiliate of AP, the Associated Press. You guys know what the Associated Press is. So we have like a digital wire like that too. We call them wires where you feed stories through. So I would see a story like Peyton Manning retires. I'm like, oh, that's really good. That would make a lot of views on Facebook because what we're looking for, we want something. Have you ever heard the term clickbait? We don't want clickbait. That's not journalistic, but we want something that's going to grab the person's attention and click on our article we post so they go to our website, because then when they go to our website, that means that our advertisers are getting their view of consumers. And that means, yes, so that means we're making money. The most important thing in any business you go to is going to be money. The advertisers are what makes news. There'd be no news without advertisements. You think news is about, what is news to you guys? Like, what's the point of news?
To give information to the viewer.
Yeah? To seek the truth and report it is what I've always been taught, you know. You want to get information to viewers. Well, you can't do that unless you have advertisers, because there's what putting money in my pocket, right? So my job as a social media manager, producer, whatever you want to call me, was I didn't write these news stories. If there was breaking news, I did, you know. But I was just picking them out, selecting them, being like, this would make really good sense on a Facebook post, or this would be really good on Twitter. It'll get a lot of retweets, or this will get a lot of shares on Facebook. And the thing is, I think the reason I got that job is because I'm young. You know, I got hired on when I was 21 at WSBT. And you guys, even more than me, know even more technology than me and Mr. Starkweather know. And it's crazy. It's because you guys have grown up with it. And we have too, partially. But it's like that sets you apart from the older generation. McNulty's generation, you know, they don't know that stuff as well as you guys do. And you didn't even go to school for it, right? You just learned it. And it's really going to help you in the future, because the way especially if you stay in news, we are going towards social media. Like, we generate more revenue sales, so we sell more advertisements on Facebook, on our web, than we do on TV, which is really crazy. But anyways, getting back to that, a good way we find stories. So I have the AP. We have all of our sister stations. So we have one like in, like, you can think Detroit or Fort Wayne, Indy, like those stations, we can take their news stories. But also, this is my tweet deck. So I've customized this. This is what I see. And this column is WSBT. So anything WSBT put. So Carrie Pajot, oh, can I not?
No, you can't.
Maybe not.
It's on that.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. So Carrie Pajot right here, she's talking about the temperature. You don't have to click it, it's okay. So this is just the most recent. You can see 6 minutes ago. And can you scroll down? And if you scroll down, you can see all these things. So all of our reporters, meteorologists, Bob Montgomery's an anchor. If you go back up, this WSBT, that would have been me posting, but I don't have that job anymore. But the digital content producer is the actual WSBT account. Anybody with WSBT in their name, they show up in this feed. So this shows me, oh, this is what my reporter's saying right now. Really important in breaking news situations. So last night, do you guys know about the Elkhart landfill fire, burning forever, toxic fumes? Yeah. Well, they had a big press conference on it, basically coming out and saying everybody's okay. But we didn't know what they were going to say. So we had a reporter, Molly Jurasek, was live at that scene, and she was, oh, yay, we get some pictures. Well, she was she was live tweeting it. And believe it or not, that's how people get news. More people get news from Twitter and Facebook than they do from a newspaper or from watching TV. Especially your guys' generation, you know, especially. So you guys heard of fake news, right? Yes, that's why fake news is such a problem, because they can make news on social media from a non-credible source that looks real. So if we go over here to local, so we've followed, and this is, I didn't follow all these people, this is the WSBT account. So over years that they've had, I think they've had a Twitter since 2009, which is crazy. But they've followed all these different accounts. So the Elkhart Truth, the South Bend Tribune, News Talk. These people are like reporters for some of the papers around here. they follow these people so we can see like, oh, NDU has this story. We know nothing about this. Or, oh, we had this story and WNDU doesn't. You know, stuff like that. That's where I find that. Over here, breaking news. Anything with the word breaking comes in this slot from anywhere. Anywhere you can think of. So anybody who posts on Twitter with breaking shows up there. And then over here are just notifications. So this tells me what are people doing with our content. Are they retweeting it? Are they replying to us? Are they sending us a notification? Are they sending us a tweet? And then over here, I can schedule tweets. This is what I did when I was a digital content manager. I just went through and was like, okay, well, I'm going to tweet the story about the twins who were born conjoined at 2 a.m. I don't know. And I would just see it over here to make sure I don't double post something. You also, so during election time, I worked election night. I also had a column for anything election news. You can have a column for like if there's a big race or a big game, Notre Dame game, have a column for that. Anything big. So if we had, there was big breaking news in London or something, a terrorist attack, I could just make a new column and put it there and watch it. So I always have this up on my screen because I told you guys I have 2 computer screens. I always have this up on one screen, making sure that I'm not missing something. Make sense? Facebook's another big thing. I am in charge of setting up interviews for the Saturday morning show. I have people come on air. I'm sure you've seen it before. People come on, they do like a cooking segment or yoga or something, right? Well, I'm in charge of setting those up. A big way I talk to these people is through Facebook, believe it or not. People are more likely to answer a Facebook message than they are their phone, which I have learned, yeah. And I can see when they read a Facebook message where I can't see when they read an email. So I use Facebook a lot in my professional life. So I want to tell you guys, believe it or not, I know Facebook is something fun for friends, but as you get older, it becomes very professional. I use my Facebook for a lot of things. And just the other day, I had a woman who wants me to like cover her event post to my Facebook page. I'm like, I don't want this here. It's my personal page. But it's just keep that in mind, like with social media. Right now, it's the thing social, fun, right? But you also want to think of it, how can I use my social media and my skills in social media to advance my career, right? Okay, so I brought you guys some presents. Aren't you excited? Because you guys look like you're going to go to sleep. And it's okay. So just, you can take a couple pages, pass it along. I have no sympathy for sleep, I'm just saying. You want to hear my Friday schedule? Yeah? So Friday I get up, I'm supposed to be at work at 5 a.m. I work till 1 p.m. I go home and I go to sleep for a little bit, and then I go back at 9 p.m. and I work till 10 a.m. Yeah. Here's some more. You guys can take a couple, let me make sure. So these, what? This is a script. So I took these from the recycling bin, yes.
I was just going to ask,
yeah.
if you had, like, if you find a story that you don't have MU has, or WNU has, what do you guys do?
That's a very good question. We try to get the story, but you can't, this is really important, so everyone listen. You can't just take somebody else's information, because that's a whole big legal thing, because what if NDU had the wrong information? You can't do that. So we would try to go to the source. So we have like contacts like in the police department and stuff, and be like, okay, this happened in St. Joe County. It was a fatal car crash. We're going to call the St. Joseph County Sheriff. I don't know, something like that. So we would try to get that confirmed, but sometimes, especially overnight breaking news situations, you can't get it confirmed, you know, and then it just sucks because NDU has the story and you don't. So it's a really good question. You just, I guess the best way to put it is you have to send a reporter out to the scene, or you have to make a lot of phone calls to get it answered. Yeah.
So are you limited then? Like WNDU is, you know, really, like, they have a lot of rights for Notre Dame, for example.
Yes.
Are you very limited on, like,
very.
Because, like, if they have, means NDUs,
Mm-hmm.
because they have the broadcasting rights for the game.
Yep.
Can you only, like, maybe say the scores? But
That's a very good question. I'm impressed you know that. Well, NDU has a lot of rights to Notre Dame. So during football season this upcoming fall, we struggle a lot with we're the #1 station in the market right now. So locally we're the #1. But football season we struggle because they have rights to all that football game, all those football games, all that footage, and we don't. And Notre Dame football is huge around here. You guys know that. You have a Notre Dame sweatshirt on right now. So we do lose a lot of stuff. But we still have the rights to go to the games. So we can have Pete Burns, our sports director. He can be at the game. We can report the scores. We just don't get the same type of like pregame coverage. We don't get to broadcast the games all the time. Does that make sense? But we also, like, they have Notre Dame, but we also have more outlook. If you guys really want to know, NDU appeals more to like older generation, middle-aged women, and we appeal more to like the other broad spectrum. Interesting. But any other questions? That was a really good question. No? So everyone get one? Do you have one? You have some? Yeah.
So, is your affiliated with South Bend?
South Bend. Well,
Or no?
okay, so
How does that work?
I'll give you the short, simple answer as much as I can. So we were under, what? Any more? Here, I have so many and I don't want these back. So you guys can either keep them or throw them away. But we were under, so every media corporation or like every news station is under like an umbrella, think of it, with a big media corporation. We used to be under this one called Schurz, and that's where we had all those radio stations. So Sunny 101.5, Live 99.9, those stations were all like, they're in the same building as me, but we were all like under the same parent company. Well, they sold us, our parent company sold us to this new company called Sinclair. So we are no longer affiliated with South Bend Tribune. Does that make sense?
But when you were, did you ever like work together from like?
I didn't work there when they were there, but they did. They South Bend Tribune was located in our building. They worked in the same newsroom I worked.
Did they work in tandem like with the stories that they were putting out? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, but it's not that way anymore. But now we still have a partnership with the South Bend Tribune. So now we can, like, I can take a story they do, and unlike, like, the question you asked about WNDU, unlike where I have to go get that confirmed, I can just say, reporter blah, blah, blah at the South Bend Tribune said this. Or according to the South Bend, our partners at the South Bend Tribune, this happened. Does it make sense? It's really confusing. I honestly don't understand all of it. It's just a bunch of legal matters. Yep. Any other questions? No? So I want you guys to look at your script. Does anybody have an extra page? I can just give me one of those. So this spread out among you is from the 4 to 5 last night. So this is actual script, word for word was on the TV. So pretty cool, right? No? No? So you can see, I'm sure some of you have Jennifer on it. That's Jennifer Copeland. I don't know if you know her. That means Jennifer's talking. If you have Rick Shutt, that means Rick's talking. If you have Matt or Abby, that's the meteorologist. And you can kind of see a script's meant to be folded like this. No one really does it other than reporters. I didn't fold it very good. But you have the words, so this is what you would read. This side is for production. So unless you want to be a reporter, this is what you really worry about. You write all of this as a producer. Unless it's a reporter story, they might write it. But this is what you worry about. So if you look at this side of the things, you have stuff like, mine says FSOTS. Anybody know what OTS is? No? What? It's over the shoulder, so over the shoulder graphic. So it was a good try. So that just means when you watch somebody, you know they have that graphic right here. That's what that means. And the FS in my case means front set. You can see anchor, read rate. So every anchor reads at a different pace, right? I might talk really fast, somebody else might talk really slow. That's what that means, and that's for the prompter and for us timing. As a producer, it's who hates math, like me? Yeah? Well, I had to do a lot of math in my job, believe it or not. So as a producer, it's all about timing out your show. You're always thinking about how much more time do I have left in the show, because no matter what, you're going off air whenever your end time is. So that helps us time out the show, because Jennifer reads at a read rate of 13, but Kristen Bean reads at a read rate of 14, which makes like 5-second difference in a story, which to you, you're probably like 5 seconds, who cares? But it adds up after a while. You can also see like mine has Live Desk Trans, Live Desk B, all that stuff, which you guys don't have to worry about, and you might never even do anything like this. But all that coding turns into what you see on TV, believe it or not. So anybody have any questions about that? Yeah.
More about when you're doing the show, what order of prioritization that you
Order of what? I'm sorry.
prioritization?
So that's all about news judgment. So like I was kind of saying earlier, I also have rundowns, so you guys can take a page or two and keep it. So this is a rundown. You can see like down here it says pages and has letters. So your show is split up into blocks. Every block is separated by commercial, right? Because your commercials are what are the reason you're on air, you know, believe it or not. So your A block is when your show starts. That's where you want your most important news. So yesterday with the landfill fire, we wanted it very top of our A block because that was what people cared about. They wanted to know if they were safe to come out of their house. And then you go down, and then you have your B block, which can be weather usually. So that's usually where you have your weather. We try at WSBT to hit our weathers on the 2s. So at like 02, 12, 22, you always have a weather segment because weather is what most people tune in to watch on your newscast. You also can see some of you might have a tease. A tease is something that comes before your commercial break, and it's like, find out how this puppy survived being hit by a car. I don't know. And then that's it. And then you go to commercial. And the whole point of that is try to keep your viewer watching through the commercial. So usually in a newscast, you would have your most important to your least important. Just like, I don't know if you guys do editorial journalism, but the inverted pyramid, right? So you want your most important information, you keep going on, but people can have the whole story by reading the first line or two, right? That's the concept. But then you start over at the half hour. So if you have an hour-long show, the 4:30 is another hard-hitting news block. Makes sense? So like that duckling or penguin story, whatever that was, we would have put that near the end of the show.
Like D or whatever.
Yeah. Or like G or H or I. Tons of different blocks. Any other questions? I want to open this up to you guys because I know most of you probably never want to do something like this. So what do you want to know? Anything about jobs in general. Because I never would have thought I'd be working as a producer. Yeah.
Do you guys still work with like radio and stuff?
We used to. The meteorologists do record their weather that you hear on like Sunny 101.5 or like News Talk. But since our parent company has changed, we're not affiliated anymore. So I personally do not work with the radio. Does that make sense? But we also share story ideas. We're in the same building. All of us are hubbed in the same place. So if they get a news tip, they tell us, vice versa. Yeah?
It's all one big corporation.
Mm-hmm.
For the like news broadcasters, like the ones behind the desk, do they only like just sit at the desk and do that, or do they do other things?
So the anchors?
Yeah.
So my job, I do everyone's work and get paid probably the least. That's how I put it. The anchors don't really do anything other than read the prompter. They'll go through and so like me, yeah, and they get paid a lot of money. But the thing is, the anchors started where I'm starting or something similar. You start in the news business, you start low and you work up, as in any business. So at one point, they were a reporter or a producer or a typical journalist, but now, you know, they've done their fair share and they just have to read. The only thing they do really is that I write, so for example, Saturday morning, I go in at 9 p.m., I write, Kristen Bean comes in around 4 a.m., the show goes on at 6:30. She'll come in, she'll read through the scripts. Sometimes she writes headlines for me, because it's just easier because I can't write how she talks all the time, you know. But they'll go in and they'll change stuff. So like Jennifer Copeland doesn't like some words, so she'll go in, she'll delete the word. Does it make sense? So they don't get hung up when they're reading the prompter. And then they go and get ready. So usually like their job, they come in, they read for an hour, they go get ready for an hour, and then they read the prompter. But the thing about the anchors, you have to understand though, is when something goes wrong, and it can be my fault or production's fault, you know, the anchor's the one that looks bad. No one ever sees my face, even though it might have been my fault. So they have a lot of, you know, stress on their shoulders. Yeah, good question. More questions. You guys look like you're so tired. Come on, wake up.
We have I-step and
I know it's first block. I remember this very well. Yeah.
What do you guys have
We
like outside of
we can do Notre Dame football. Like, we can cover it. We just don't get the same benefits that NDU does because they're affiliate of Notre Dame. Does this make sense?
like do you guys do like live broadcasts from
Yeah.
games, or?
We do live shots from the game. Sports department's a whole nother department in the newsroom. It's about 3 people. And they say what they want to do, and I don't even write it. I don't write any sports stories. So sports is their own working machine. They know how to write their own stuff, and they even produce it. The only time I would help sports out if I need to make a placeholder, which to you means nothing, but it basically means I click a button to make sure their video can go in. Yeah.
I know you said it's kind of complicated, but what happens to the people that used to work at like Fox 28? Did you actually take in some of them?
Yes.
Or
So Fox 28 got sold by their company. Well, their company, their like parent company, said we don't want you anymore. They weren't performing the best. And then my parent company of WSBT said we will take them. We will take that station. We will buy that station. So WSBT, even though a lot of people didn't understand this, we actually saved Fox. You know, Fox was just going to be nothing. So they took in a few reporters. So Molly Jurasak came from Fox. Dean Hubbard, who doesn't work for us anymore, but he originally came over from Fox, and some behind-the-scenes people. But some people they just couldn't take in, but they've moved on to different markets. So, but now we do news on Fox, WSBT News on Fox, if you've seen it. It's really confusing. Yeah.
So, when I was younger, I had a story, like, when my dad came home from Iraq. Fox came and, like, covered the story of when he came home, and it was on Fox, but, like, do they still have, like, an archive for their story?
They do, but I don't handle that at all. I don't know how you get it. People call all the time asking for stories, but that's something more like not my field. It's something like you would call the news director or a boss who can get back into the old station. Because we did move stations, and since we're not Fox, I don't even know how that works. But WSBT's been in a new building only for like 7 or 9 years or something like that, so I'm not for sure how that all works. Yeah.
You talked about your day tomorrow. Are your hours something like that?
Yeah, my hours, so my schedule has changed a lot since I got hired on. And since I'm kind of bottom of the totem pole, since I not even been out of school for a year, you know, I kind of have to just do whatever. But I have Sundays and Mondays off typically, but that always can change. Tuesdays I work 11:30 to 7:30. Wednesdays I work that. Today I usually go in at 9, but I'm going to go in a little late since I'm here. And I work till 3, and then I have that Friday 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., 9 p.m. to 10 a.m. But it's nice. The only nice part about it is I get Saturday off because I get off at 10 a.m. I have all Saturday, all Sunday, and all Monday off. So it's kind of like a 3-day weekend, kind of. I know the hours sound really bad, and they are, but that changes.
What's the highest position you could be in at WSBT?
I mean, you could own the company. But probably I would say I would like strive to be like an executive producer or like a news director or something like that. So you would be, instead of really doing work, you're more in charge of managing the people who do work. But yeah.
So, I mean, you said you went to Franklin and that is
Mm-hmm.
arts. What specifically made you, like, decide?
Choose Franklin?
Or even, like, yeah, because, like, if I'm thinking about maybe journalism and I'm
Yeah.
planning on going to Ball State.
Yeah.
Like, what made your path cross with journalism from going from where you went?
Yeah, so the reason I went to Franklin, I really did not know what I wanted to do in college till I think I was in college. I didn't choose my school till, honestly, I think end of May. It was the very last day you could choose a school to get scholarships. So I really didn't know what I was doing. The reason I got attracted to Franklin is I ran in college. I was cross country and track athlete, and I got some money there. But then they also had a really good journalism school, and journalism was something I was looking into, and the reason why is because I like to write, and that's the only thing that seemed practical at the time. So honestly, like, I don't know if it was the most well-informed decision to major in it, but it was more one of those things when you go in as a freshman to college, you don't have to know what you're doing. You don't have to pick a major. You can be general studies, especially a liberal arts school. You start out your freshman year, and I took like Spanish, public speaking. You know, it was nothing really to do with journalism. But then we had like a journalism seminar. It was a 6 credit hour course. It was crazy. But that's when I really started to realize I actually like reporting. And my professors told me, like, you need to be on air, you need to be on air. I didn't want to be on air. But as I started doing more of the journalism side, I was like, I really like writing. I like talking to people. I like finding story ideas. I like all that stuff. And then I added on my second major, my second year of PR, because I want options. And public relations is all in charge of like selling your company to something, you know. And that's the people I work with every day. As a journalist, I work with PR firms and PR people trying to get me get their stories on my TV. Does this make sense? So I picked both of those. And it's just, I think the only way you know and how it happens is just through experience. You have to just try things, and sometimes you'll hate them, sometimes you'll love them. My freshman year of college, I interned at the State House, downtown Indianapolis, during January, and I was a reporter there. Realized I did not want to be a reporter, you know, but I still did the journalism side of things. And then throughout college, I did a lot of internships in different areas. I did tours, campus tours, believe it or not, which was a really good job because I ended up being the social media manager for our campus. So I was in charge of like making cool social media posts to get people like your brother, you know, to go to our school. So that was a really good, rewarding job for me. I worked in our PR office there, our marketing office, and did stuff like writing press releases or I really like photography. I love photography. Taking photos of the sports teams or stuff to sell Franklin College. And I realized like I really like working with people and getting out in my job and not just having the same old monotonous thing every day. And I'm a type of person who really likes to work under pressure, even though I hate pressure. If I just feel like when you guys have a deadline, right, that's when you start working. You get a paper, it's due 2 months from now. You're not starting that paper today, are you?
No, just a week before.
Yes. Well, mine was like a night before it's due. But I don't recommend that. But it's just that's how I work, and that's how my career is now. So internships are important. You guys get internships. I know college is fun and all, but you need to just start immersing yourself. That's how you get hired. I didn't get hired because of my degree. They didn't care about my degree. You guys get a degree. You need a degree, but they care about your experience. Okay? Yeah.
Well, Allie, I think we're going to call it at this point. Thank you so much
Thanks.
for joining us. Allie Marlow, everybody. At this point, I'd like you to go over to the piano studio or newsroom, take your chairs with you, leave the couches, pull up on your computer any project you want. You could pull the rundown up, or a script, or a web story, or one of your packages, or a draft in the Google script. Show her that, okay? Show her some of your work. Get that ready right now. We don't have a lot of time, but if you have something ready, she's going to want to see it. Oh, very good. That was awesome.
Thanks.
You know, in some ways,